Coming up in North Hollywood this Saturday night, El Portal Theater. Check it out on my Instagram, official Darren Carter, on how to get tickets. Hope all is well. Hope you're doing well. It's Monday, October 18th, and I have a great episode ahead. We got a fan favorite, Jimmy DiResta, who you may know from his own sitcom called DiResta and many, many TV shows. And in this episode, we're going to talk about people falling off stages, things we learned from books, getting fame, losing fame, motorcycle clubs. He actually performed in a motorcycle club here in Southern California. You'll find out all about that. And going to Maker's Camp with his brother DiResta, Jimmy DiResta, who's very famous, very popular. And it's like a trade show in upstate New York. They do them all over, but this particular one was about 4 miles from his brother's house. And his brother will stand there and sign autographs for 8 hours. And it's great. I wanted to know all about it. And we give a shout out to a couple of people that went there. So thank you so much. And I want to give a shout out. Also, we found out more stories about his days as an NYPD cop. I love it. I love all that stuff. All that and more coming up. Lots of laughs on today's episode of the Pocket Party Podcast. If you want to do us a small favor, please share these episodes. They're all on Instagram. They're all on YouTube. Share those links. Comment on the links on YouTube in the comment section. It helps the algorithm. And I'm available on CAMEO, official Darren Carter on CAMEO. You can also Venmo me at Darren Carter. If you want to, buy me a cup of coffee, I'm on Venmo at Darren Carter Comic, Darren. I'm also on the Cash App, Darren Carter Comic on the Cash App. You guys are awesome. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon. Now let's start that party in your ear holes.
Pocket Party.
And we're back. Hey, everybody, live in person. I got the one and only Mr. Jimmy DiResta.
Thank you.
Dude, this is nice. Can I just say this? This isn't over Zoom. I'm actually pre-COVID. We're here in the podcast studio that you've built in your home.
That's right. You see the new wood background.
I like it. This is great. A
lot of people think on Zoom that it's a one of those things you add.
Oh, like a Zoom background,
yep.
A fake background.
Yeah, no. This is, listen. My son's going to think I'm knocking for him.
Hey, put the mic up to it.
Yeah.
Or you could go. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's good.
I actually got to text him and tell him I'm not knocking for him.
Oh, is he knocking on the thing?
No. In other words, when I knocked on that door. But look, we'll just take care of it.
Do you remember that song, Knock 3 Times on the Ceiling If You Want Me?
Sure, that would be Tony, Orlando, and Dawn.
Yeah, Dawn.
And tie a yellow ribbon.
Yep.
Yeah. Knock 3 times on the ceiling if you want me.
And then twice on the pipe if
the answer is no. Oh, my darling.
Yeah.
Seem to meet me in the hallway. No.
I just heard that song tonight when I was getting ready.
He's still doing it.
He is?
Oh, of course.
I think I heard some interview with him, and that's, if you look, the credit, it says Dawn. It doesn't say Tony Orlando. It just says Dawn, because I think he wasn't supposed to do it.
They all broke up.
Yeah.
It's like going to see Queensryche. You could see Queensryche 1, 2, or 3. Or Quiet Riot with none of the original members.
Oh, that would... I know. We saw like the Gap Band, and it was like that. And you're like,
And guess what? You heard about Vince Neil, right?
No, what?
He's been overweight.
Yeah.
And he's not getting ready for the humongous stadium tour.
Mm.
And he can't keep up. He's doing these gigs with his own band.
Yeah.
And they're small clubs, and he's out of breath. And last night, dude, off the stage.
No.
Took a step, and there was nothing there.
Oh.
Broken ribs.
Oh.
And so now he's overweight, can't keep his breath. And last night, as they were dragging him off, all he was saying was, I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I'm not making a joke. They said, the witnesses said he was saying he couldn't breathe.
Damn.
Now, how do you get ready for a stadium tour?
Oh, and when's that supposed to kick off?
The spring. And the spring is going to come. Things happen quick.
People think, like I'm a little cautious when I'm up on stage, but I like...
No, same with me, dude. I look around.
I like to know where does the stage end and the floor begin.
It happens. Did you ever see... the worst one ever? It's on video. Now, so Vince Neil's on video, but you don't see him hit. He just drops out of sight.
Yeah.
Same with Jimmy Buffett. Jimmy Buffett was out. He was out. He was knocked out for.
What happened? He was wearing his flip
He was
flops and
just
just like
doing his thing and took a step too far, and there was nothing there.
oh my god! Stepped on a pop top. Stepped off the big stage.
And
yeah.
Frank Zappa fell almost 2 stories.
Whoa!
It changed the sound of his voice. His voice got deeper. And watch this. He had a broken leg so bad in a different country in Europe
Yeah.
that he had to stay for 6 months. He couldn't fly.
Dang.
And he wrote and recorded an album in a wheelchair in a different country.
Wow.
His was on stage. He
Yeah.
took a step, and it was a 20-foot drop.
Oh my gosh. I was at the Haha last night, Haha Comedy Club on Lancashire, and at the outdoor stage, the light is very bright, and that's one of those things you don't know where the stage ends and the ground begins. So I very cautiously will step down, and then, especially with my eyes, like it's not like we're 20 years old,
Not
spring
just that.
chickens and great eyesight.
We're on a different stage sometimes 7 nights a week.
Yeah.
I was on a stage last night that I built. How many comedians can say that?
That's true.
I built it in 2007. How many thousands of laughs
Wow.
and comedians have,
That's cool.
Yeah, dude.
That's pretty cool when you think about it, huh? Where you're like, some of the biggest comics in the world may have stepped on that stage.
Guys like, Paul Moongene, Darren Carter.
I finally played that room.
Yeah, dude. Valencia, awesome town. I was there last night. Watch this. I got such huge laughs. Now, just I'm going to try not to dislocate my shoulder as I pat myself on the back. But I got such huge laughs that the regret on the way. I'm rushing home to watch the Doya game. I'm a Doya fan.
Go Doyers!
And I'm rushing home, and I realized I had my comb right at my ready to brush out my mustache.
Yeah.
And I had such big laugh holds, I could have done it 10 times in 10 minutes, and it was just a regret that I didn't do it. You understand what I mean? It was just waiting for the prop.
Yeah.
And I just didn't. But on a different note, the laugh rolls were going so long that I was commenting on what was taking place non-verbally. So I was getting new, and I was increasing the laughter or switching the gear of the laughter without saying anything verbally.
Oh, that's good.
Do you dig what I mean?
Yeah, that's something that's it takes experience.
Oh, without a doubt.
You read a lot of books. I want to talk about books. You and I did a podcast once, and you told me how you read a book not just once, but you'll go back and you'll have a whole experience with the book. Like
yeah, and
mark it up.
I circle it,
and
and I like right now I'm reading a Lenny Bruce book, the big thick gray one.
Yeah.
I have like 6 copies. You get them at garage sales, and he looks like there's one thing. He's in like 7th grade, and he looks like a comedian from the Springbok. What's Jason's last name? He's heavy set.
I don't know.
See, I can't think of it, but he looks like
Oh, wow.
in that book. Anyway, so when I go back and read that book, I just read the outline pages. I go from page 33 to 70 to 104. You know what I mean?
You just skip around. Ones that you've underlined.
The ones that I circled, underlined, stars, like if it has 30 stars on it.
And didn't he play a bunch of strip clubs and stuff on Lancashire
He
here in North
did. He
Hollywood?
found his voice. He was a straight comedian for years from Long Island. I don't know if you know that. Rodney Dangerfield, Long Island. You know that.
Yeah.
Maybe you heard of Jerry Seinfeld.
Oh, yeah.
Eddie Murphy, Howard Stern. Tell Me When to Quit. Rosie O'Donnell, John DiResta.
Quit.
He moved to L.A. and since he was working strip joints and nobody was listening to him anyway, he got to be more of the guy that was between shows, like the way we are as comedians, the way we kind of get vicious and rank on everybody. And he started to do that on stage just because he said 2 things. A, I want to get their attention. B, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it my way.
Yeah.
Similar to when I went to see Motorhead. I was the oldest person there. Everyone thought I was a chaperone or the limo driver.
To go see Lemmy?
To see Lemmy.
Wow.
And what I noticed was a person that was saying, if I have to do this every night of my life, I'm going to do it in the most joyful way for me. Your turn.
What do you mean? So when he was performing, he didn't look like a bear that was like, all right, get out of your cage, go perform. He looked like someone who was like, I love this.
Whether it was cursing, whether it was the way he was playing, whether he was joking with the audience, it was all to make it easier for him.
Yeah.
in a weird way, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Like as comedians, we get up there, we try and find a little bit of novelty in the same old act, quote unquote. And sometimes if we come at it from a different angle, it makes us laugh. You add a word, you drop a word. You've seen when my buttocks gets scrunched up into my...
You turn around and you show the audience, hey, look how flat my butt is, and it's super funny because you get into it. You're like Superman.
But then I kind of cinch up the seam into my crack area.
Yeah.
So now it's flat and suckled in, and it looks like my anus is hungry for denim. And for 30, 20 years, I've been saying it looks like a camel toe on a crack whore.
Yeah.
Up on Sepulveda, if we're in L.A. And
Sepulveda.
Last night, I just said it looks like a crack. Looks like a camel toe on Mariah Carey, and just the freshness of it made me laugh as I was saying it, and the audience laughed with it. There was a sense of, okay, he hasn't said this 1,000 times.
Yeah.
He's just making this up right now, and we know it. So anyway, just and even my act last night, I was told no F words. Yeah. So you know me, I'm there was no F words, but there might as well have been everything else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And guess what that's called? Guess what Frank Zappa called that? Maybe you heard of Frank Zappa.
Yeah, what do you call it?
He's a genius.
He wrote for 6 months. He wrote an album in a wheelchair
in Europe. He calls it keeping it greasy. In other words, keeping it fun, keeping it.
Yeah.
Watch this. He has a song you could listen after this. It's called "Keep It." Something along the lines that if you keep it greasy, it goes down easy. And that being the entertainment.
Yeah.
A la Howard Stern. A la, Lenny Bruce. A la Twisted Sister. Like you're using every trick in the book for you to have fun, and in turn, what happens if you have fun?
They have fun.
But a lot of people don't know that. They think they have to have clever jokes about global warming.
No, screw that, man. You know what? I always have fun up there, and it's funny. Some people have said that. They go, you're the party starter, and it's like, it could be 4 people, it could be 400 people. I'm always going to, have fun with what it is. And I even worked with a guy who's kind of, I don't want to say his name, because you and I both know him, and I don't want to put him out there like that, but I did a show, we did an outdoor show at a brewery, and there was no money in it, and I kind of didn't want to do it, so I told him no a few times. And then the lady, she just keeps asking, and I was like, you know what? It's only a couple miles. It's not that far.
Right.
I'll do it. So she's like, yeah, you'll close and just do as long as you want. And this comic, he goes, I can't believe you did 40 minutes and they didn't even pay you. And I'm like, his mindset's in the wrong place.
Oh, 100%.
He was like, I can't, you did all that time and they didn't even. And I'm like, no.
And watch this.
Yeah.
When people have been doing it for 25 or 30 years and they say that to you, it makes you question their whole being as a comedian.
Right.
A friend of mine has living room balls. You know what that is? Funny in the living room.
Yeah.
Cul-de-sac balls. He's the funniest guy at the cul-de-sac Christmas party.
Yeah.
And he's very funny.
Yeah.
But he has really bad stage fright. And the few times he's gone on stage, he's done really well. So I'm like, you kind of got past it. You know what I mean? Like, aren't you past it? And so he doesn't do sets. Like, dude, there's a forever excuse. I worked late. My car got a flat.
Right.
I mean, times 1,000. The weather, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
So I just sent them a schedule of a comedian that started only 3 years ago. And she was a student of mine for a while. And she just posted a schedule that literally from now to like January 30th, she's on stage 7 nights a week in all over the country. 5 nights in Florida, 5 nights in Georgia, 2 nights in Chicago. And I just sent it to him and I said, how's the sets? Rubbing his nose in a little. How's the sets?
Yeah.
And he knows she started way later than him. And he texted back, what do you think she's getting paid for all those? And I said, dude, you don't get it. Her act is going to be tight as a drum. She's going to be as good as Led Zeppelin when she does 150 nights in a row in every different part of the country.
Right.
That's you can't pay for that.
Yeah, because when I did that brewery, I thought, it was so fun. Like, here's what, like, I show up, and I'm excited. You said keep it greasy. I'm excited now. after COVID, like, okay, how can I film this? How can I set up my lavalier mic? How can I sync the sound? How can I have new content for my YouTube channel? Like learning how to do that, because
Right.
if you haven't done it, it sounds so foreign. Like, I don't know how to do it. And then you just get better at it. And by the way, I was inspired by your brother, Jimmy, because,
Nice.
I remember when I first got into like putting effort into my YouTube channel, I was like, should I learn how to edit on Premiere? Should I do it? And he's like, no, I do it at that time. He goes, I do it all on iMovie. And I'm like, really? You could have millions of followers and subscribers and do it all on iMovie? I'm like, wow, okay. Then I just was like, boom, I can do this. And little by little, I'd watch tutorials and learn stuff. So my point being, I brought the camera and I brought the lavalier, and I go to this outdoor brewery gig, and it was in a parking lot. And I think they do a fundraiser for animals. So there was a lot of people with their dogs, and I looked at it and I thought, I don't really want to film this because it's not really. So I put the camera away, and of course I had a
Oh, yeah, you got to film every one.
I was so loose and I was like, man, I wish I would have recorded it. But that's the thing, I was so loose, so in the moment. They had a light that was from like AutoZone or something, and it wasn't really a spotlight. It wasn't like a ring light that you would do a vlog or something. And so I started riffing off that about, trying to find car parts and, mechanics, and, and it was great, man. I was so loose. And my point is back to books. My point is back to books. When we read these books, do you find yourself like feeding your brain because your brain is a sponge, and then maybe using some of that knowledge on stage?
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah.
Works, right?
I mean, I read, there's a couple of biographies of comedians. There's there's art books, there's psychology books, but not to sound like a douchebag, because that's what it sounds like that I'm reading all these books. There's the mind remembers everything. So like the more you have in there, I could pull up just a crazy, funny, dumb fact or a line in a set might be 15 months from now from a book I read 10 years ago, and that's what makes it different and makes it fun. Does that make sense?
It does, and also
it's not just airplane food.
Yeah,
and it's
like,
not Fox versus CNN.
It's like not just surface stuff that everyone's looking at on social media. It's like you're going, I've been listening because I like audiobooks because I can go hiking and go to Griffith Park and like go hiking, and I love it. It's great, and then and it takes you on a mental journey. And so I've been listening to Ernest Hemingway, The Snows of Kilimanjaro.
Nice,
read by Stacy Keach. And it's great because it takes you to this place where he's talking about being on these African safari, and you're just picking up certain words where you're like, oh, I could maybe use that in my comedy somehow. Like just
Stacy Keach is a hair lip.
Yeah, I saw that. He has that little thing, right? He's got that scar. I didn't know what that scar was.
Yeah, they usually talk like this. My dad always imitated him.
And he had that mustache that he would cover it with,
Yeah, but
Mike
you saw
Hammer.
the big.
Yeah.
Nah, he's a good actor.
Here's something he said. So I'm reading this. One of the stories was about a guy who pays to go on safari, and they shoot lions and rhinoceroses and stuff. And the guy panics, drops the rifle, freaks out, and feels like a coward. And he gets back in the Jeep, and his wife is looking at him like, you piece of, like, why am I with this guy? And he's trying to rationalize it. Like, he's like, well, I mean, this isn't what I do. I mean, I'm good at other things in my life. And he felt so embarrassed. And even the helpers on the, because you pay like a professional guide.
Yeah, and then he's got Sherpas.
Yeah. And so the Sherpas were kind of like looking at him like, this guy's a roll, And then they were talking in Swahili. And he's like, what did you say? And he goes, oh, it doesn't matter, my good man. It's, you'll be fine. You have a whole other life in New York City. Don't worry about it. And he just is like, oh. And then in this story, his wife like leans in and kisses the captain of this hunt. She's like, you're so brave. Kind of like throws it in his face.
Whoa.
Yeah. And then afterwards they have a little argument. And I love the way he called it quarreling. We quarreled. And I'm like, I wrote that word down. I'm like, that's a good word, quarreling. Because it's not fighting. It's not arguing. Yeah. It's not, And long story short, in this, overnight, he goes to put his hand out in the cot to reach for his wife, and she's missing. Where do you think she was?
She's banging a zebra.
Yeah, she was banging the leader.
Nice.
So she comes back for 2 hours, and so that was an interesting story. And then more happens to it. But one of the things that the captain says he's got this British accent. And he said, one of the things I should have told him, but it wasn't my place, but I should have told him that even the bravest hunter, the Somalians have a phrase, they say, even the bravest hunter is frightened 3 times by the lion. When he sees the lion's tracks, when he hears the lion roar, and when he sees the lion face to face. And so I told that story on stage because I just wanted to like, hey, because I had nothing to lose. I'm like, hey, I'm
It's deep.
Boom, boom, boom. And then I was telling my buddy Fraser Smith about it, and he goes, oh, and then he made a joke because he's a funny guy. He goes, and the 4th time they have fear is when they bet on the Detroit Lions.
There you go.
He said some kind of zinger like that. And I'm like, oh, so I tried it on stage and it worked a couple of times. But I think something like that, like if you read a book and you tell the audience a little bit of knowledge, and it's interesting already, it makes our job even, come on, we're quoting Ernest Hemingway.
Yeah, no, I could dig it. And speaking of African, I do a lot of, I think I do a lot of unusual shows, bad shows, if you want to call them, back rooms. I do them for the experience because it gives you something to talk about.
Yeah.
So 2 years ago, I saw on Craigslist, Insult Santa. Not a dirty Santa, an insult Santa. We're going to pay you with a microphone to make fun of everyone at our party.
Yeah.
And you'll be dressed as Santa. I called a woman. She said, I'll give you $500. She said, I'll send you $250 now and $250 the night of. And it was in down by the beach, Venice, on a roof, with very well-off people. Like it wasn't, everyone there made $500,000 a year. Everybody was in showbiz.
Oh, and they wanted you to be the insult Santa.
I was the insult Santa. I showed up. They had a cool grotto, like a Santa, where you sit. There's a chair, there's gifts, and there was 2 little people. And one of them was really good-looking. She was a female. She was about 2'4", but she was sexy. And the other one was her husband. I didn't know that, so I learned when I made a comment, that's my wife.
Oh.
So I said to her, can I just do a set and get out of
here? I can only imagine a John DiResta comment.
Can I do a set and get out of here?
Yeah.
And she said, not at all. No, I want you to sit down. I just wanted to do like 10 minutes and leave.
Yeah.
And she said, no, I want you to, I'm paying you for 2 to 3 hours to sit down with the mic, take your time, and just whatever comes to your mind. And I was so glad because the set wouldn't have worked. No one's going to listen. They're at a party.
Oh.
And why am I dressed as Santa? And I got more, as the night went on, I got more vicious, more dirty. Sexy women would come over and go, what's going on here? We heard you're funny. And as dressed as Santa, I'd go, I'm addicted to crack, heroin, and Oxycontin. And I'm taking this gig for $20. I have AIDS. Do you want to sit on my lap? Yeah. And they would sit on my lap. Like it was on top of the insults with the microphone. And make a long story short, a year or 2 later, I'm doing I don't want to brag, a movie theater gig where you go on in a movie theater in Thousand Oaks. And I see a comedian. I go, hey, man, I haven't seen you in years. Don't remember his name. He goes, what have you been up to? I said, did this, that. I said, I did some insult Santa thing. It was really fun. He goes, Venice Beach? I go, yeah. 3 hours with midgets? I go, yeah. He goes, I heard it was hysterical. I go, where did you hear that? I was on an African safari in the middle of the jungle with a sexy blonde woman when she said, what do you do for a living? And he said, I'm a comedian. As they're looking at caribous, wildebeest, zebras.
Rhinoceros.
And she said, you're a comedian? Do you know John DiResta? The guy goes, yeah, I do. She goes, he was our insult Santa a few weeks ago.
Wow.
He was hysterical. And the next year, I thought I would automatically get booked. And I looked her up and she said, nah, we don't need you this year. And I thought I could do it forever. Now that there's a cancel culture, it might be different.
Maybe you could do it again. Maybe you could put it out there.
Dude, at one point I was smoking a joint and drinking Heineken. At the party as Insult Santa. It was hysterical.
Did you have a fake beard?
Dude, I had the beard, the glasses, the boots. She had it all ready for me in my size. It was part of the pay.
Wow.
Oh, no, dude, I was all the way. I was in. I had assistants, elves. That's dude, great. Dressed as a...
Hey, let me ask you about that. You did a gig for the... You performed at a motorcycle club's headquarters, the Hells Angels.
I did a gig for the South L.A., Hell's Angels in August. I got the gig on a Thursday, and a guy came running over to me, saw a set, and he said, "Hey, man, Saturday, 2 days from now, we're doing a gig in the Hell's Angels for them. Do you want a set?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, I said, "Should I host?" And then I said to myself, well, let's just let it, why answer now? So that night I said, "Hey, do you want me to host? Or do you want me to...
Do Insult Santa.
That's funny. I said, "Do you want me to host or do a set?" And he goes, "It's your choice." So I said, "Which pays more?" And this is a true story. Host pays 20. Set pays 20. So, but okay, hold on. Dude, I'm going to be doing a show for the Hells Angels. What's the difference whether it's 20 or 300?
Yeah.
Or 20 or 150? You even made the face.
Yeah.
You just made the face that your friend made to you outside the car.
No, my face says I would have done the set. I wouldn't do the host because the
Oh,
host,
okay. I wasn't sure. I thought you were saying in it. So watch this.
Because the host, you got to go up and down a
It was
lot.
right for the money. For the money. So I said that.
If you like this show and you want to help out, go to CAMEO. I do birthday shout-outs, anniversary shout-outs, or if you just want to do a donation, go to DarrenCarter.com, PayPal, or Venmo at Darren Carter Comic. Now let's get back to the show.
So I show up, and we were told to dress nice. So I'm thinking we're going to a catering hall. It's going to be couples.
Yeah.
We pull up in front of this dark building with chains.
Yeah, what's
and
dressed nice for the Hells Angels? To cut off both sleeves.
fences and chain. We literally got let through a big lock and a chain, and by two guys covered in tats. And next thing you know, we're in their clubhouse, which again I didn't know till we walked
Now,
in.
You have rings and you have tattoos. Oh yeah, do that again. And one of those rings is a skull with red eyes.
The other one has a lazy eye.
Oh yeah, and that's another skull with it. So did you feel kind of like I'm fitting in, or did you feel like
No. I had a shirt that I wear that makes me look a bit like a quiff. I don't know if you know what a quiff is.
No, what's a
It's
quiff?
a Long Island word. It's just you look different. You're a quiff.
like in the real world, you could pass for maybe a biker because people are like,
Well, if I had a black T-shirt
Yeah,
on,
is
not
that-
there. No, I had the
That's
quiff
what
shirt
I was
on.
gonna say when you, in there, did you feel like a poser?
No,
like,
well, they knew
straight
we
out
were-
of casting. Here he
They
is
knew
with
we
this.
were comedians.
Yeah.
Because we're not part of their club. Anyone that was different, hey, have a good show. So what I did instead of, obviously, I have the tattoos and, I have a tiny bit of street cred, which I did not mention up front that I'm an ex-cop. I got very,
don't mention that up front.
I got very, 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 very lucky. And two things happened. One, the headliner showed up, and as soon as he saw me, and not to pat myself on the back, his eyes widened up. He went right to my ear and said, "Can you headline? I don't want to follow you. I don't want to follow you. Don't tell anybody. Is it okay if you don't mind headlining?" And I said, "Dude, not at all."
That's good that he was straight up honest because usually
He was honest.
When guys tell me that kind of stuff, they usually have an excuse. Oh, I gotta get out of here.
No, he goes, "I haven't done a set in a year." So, and not only did I two things happened. I wanted to go, okay, now instead of just doing a set, now I got to prove I'm the headliner because there was 8 of us.
Yeah.
Like now I have to take the mantle and take hold of the flame, as they would say in Queensryche.
Yeah.
The heavy metal band.
Do you like? Can you drop some Metallica references? Because I'm really into Metallica.
Oh, sure, without a doubt.
Like a moth to a flame. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how my son says yeah now. When even at school, he's got all his friends doing it. Yeah.
Yeah, well, no one does it better than Jim Brewer.
So
Jim
good.
Brewer,
He's so good, right?
he's the heavy metal comedian. I think I am. He is. I thought Jim Florentine was. It's not. It's
Jim Brewer.
It's Jim Brewer.
Jim Florentine, he's good too, man. He's another heavy metal.
So the one thing happens, they make me the headliner, and I'm like, okay, no problem. And now I knew I could do more than 10 minutes. I could do 15 or 20 or 30.
Yeah.
And they made it easy for me. Out of the 8 comedians, 2 or 3 of them were really bad. And you got to give the Hells Angels credit. They didn't, they didn't boo them. They didn't get up. They didn't heckle them. A few of them left, and I wanted to say, "Can you please stay till I go up?" But it just wasn't my position.
Yeah.
And the other big thing that happened was that out of, how many comedians are there working today? Let's just say 10,000.
Are you leading to the story about what the guy did the previous year? Because I want the audience to know.
Oh,
about
okay.
that.
Well, I'll tell you that right up front. The guy, the previous year, one of the comedians said to them, I'm an undercover cop. And he thought that would be funny, and they got right up, they grabbed him by the arm and walked him to the front door. and said, you can't say that in here.
He did that on stage?
He did it on stage. I wasn't there, but that's what I heard. No, out of the 10,000 comedians I could have got that gig, there was not one single, maybe you, maybe a few people that could walk up. I said, who's in charge? They said, Rusty. I went over to Rusty, and I said, hey, Rusty, my name's John DiResta. I'm one of the comedians, and I just want to tell you I'm friends with Brendan Manning. And he took a long pause. This is the president of the Hells Angels, and leaned in and goes, how do you know Brendan Manning? Now, Brendan Manning is the head of the New York chapter of the Hells Angels.
Let's go, Brendan.
And I said he was at my brother's wedding, and he's friends with both of my brothers, and he's been to 2 movie sets. He's been to a De Niro movie and an Ed Burns movie. He showed up and was given special treatment on the movie set because of me. And he said, okay, well, that's good to know. You know, I just saw in his eyes that, okay, you're a good guy. You know, you're friends with Brendan. Then while the other comedians were on stage, I sat down next to another guy, big old guy, white beard, and he leaned over. He goes, when are you going on? And I said, you know, I'm last. And we started to kind of mock the other comedians.
Wait, what'd that guy look like again?
He was big with, he looked like Santa.
I was going to say, maybe he was like an insult Santa.
No, he wasn't. I'm
an insult Hell's Angel.
He,
that would be a hell gig, dude.
So I just leaned in his ear and I said, this is the second guy out of 80 of them. I said, hey, I just want to let you know, I'm friends with Brendan Manning. Do you know Brendan Manning? He didn't answer. He went to his iPhone and flipped up just 2 pictures of him and Brendan Manning together. And he said, this is 7 days ago.
Wow.
So now I got this guy in my corner. Like, you know, he was, you know what I mean?
And they're still probably leery. And like, did they check in with Brendan?
You're funny that you asked.
Yeah.
The Santa Claus looking guy, and I mean that as a compliment, not as a rank out. He texted Brendan Manning and said, there's a guy, he even leaned over and he goes, how do you spell your last name? I said, DiResta, DiResta, like the rest of the story. And he texted, he says, a guy sitting next to me saying, John DiResta says you're friends with his brother. And blip, came right back. You're in for a good show. He's a good guy.
Oh, it's good.
Yeah. So it was fun. I had just a really good set. And you know what kicked it off? I made fun of the host that brought me there. I said, give it up for James Betterton. I don't know if you know him. And I'm using his name because he's a good guy. He took it. Because he had to come up 8 or 9 times. And he's not the most seasoned comedian, and it's the Hells Angels. And I said, give it up for James Betterton. Now, there's a man that got less funny as the night went on.
That's what I'm saying. It could get weird.
But I'm just saying that was an inside joke with my audience.
Yeah.
You know, someone had to get hurt. You know that old theory?
Yeah.
So now they got a little laugh at it, and I was killing. I did mention I'm an ex-cop. I felt the laughs go down a little, not a lot, but they went down a little, and I said, all right, time to get out of that. And I closed so well that about my son living in my balls. That's where my son lived 31 years ago. He lived in my balls. And I was going to drop the mic, and for a split second I went, this is either rented or owned by them. If it breaks, they're going to have to pay for it, and they might beat me up. As well as I would do, and they were standing up. I saw them in the darkness standing up.
Like, standing ovation.
And the first guy that walked over to me is the littlest, shortest guy you ever saw, 5'2". He goes, I saw you were going to drop the mic. I saw it in your eyes. I saw it, and you didn't because you said it's going to break and we're going to be pissed off. I said, dude, 100%. They were still clapping while this guy was saying that to me. It was a funny moment.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. So it was really, again, the point I'm doing is,
tell us what happened in the bathroom. Remember you went in the bathroom? Tell us about that. Do you remember that, where I'm going with this?
I had a weird bad stomach that night, and it wasn't nerves.
Yeah.
You know, because I've done a lot of shows. It might have been nerves, and I didn't know it. It's just, I've never had this problem. I had diarrhea.
Oh, and that wasn't what I was going with.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll get to your...
I'll mute myself real quick. Your inner dialogue with yourself was like everything you thought you were going to do.
They're going to beat me up. Yeah. No. That's so. Again, I went to the bathroom a few times. I thought they were going to beat me up if I clogged the toilet. But I know what you're getting at.
They beat me up.
They had a perfume there.
Oh yeah, cologne.
They had like a cologne, and I don't know if it was Hell's Angels or Paco Rabanne. I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know. And I was gonna put it on just for the story. You know, a month from now, I could say I put on Hell's Angels cologne. And then I realized if I smelled like one of them, they might beat me up.
They're gonna beat me up.
And
And then you said you sat in a chair to watch the show, and you're thinking about taking this really nice chair to sit in. And you're
Yeah.
like, what if that's like the leader's chair?
Yeah, right. There was like a big. It looked just like the table, Sons of Anarchy. You know, the big table with a big chair at the end. So I had to sit in a folding chair because they could have beat me up. And it was a fun night. And dude, I tell everyone. Usually, I save for the very end. Guess how much I got paid? And I say $20. That usually gets a laugh. That's like the final button of the story. But since then. Months have gone by, and I got a video the other day that's the president of that chapter bumped into a friend of mine somewhere. And they videotaped 30 seconds, and the president of that chapter looked in the camera and said, Jimmy DiResta, you fucked up. You were too funny.
Oh, it's
now
good.
you have to come back, whether you like it or not.
I'll do my motorcycle.
Yeah, baby.
That'd be good, right?
Yeah.
That'd be
So
good.
it was so not only do I have them on my side, I've never done a 1 hour special like you have at the El Porte.
El Portal Theater, which I'll be performing this Friday.
I would like to do one in their headquarters and then try and sell it.
That'd be
there'd
good.
be a little bit of street cred involved.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. I wonder if they'd let you do it.
Well, here's the one thing. A, I would cut a financial deal with them.
Yeah.
Right? Everything has a percentage. And B,
1%.
oh,
Get it?
I get it.
The 1%ers.
Yeah, I get it. And the other thing is, a few of these guys are actors. They're in Sons of Anarchy and stuff. So this is from what I was told, this is the most friendliest chapter you could do a stand-up comedy for.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? You know, they're not in the middle
Southern
of
California.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and they're probably show business. They might be behind the scenes. And guess what? I just remembered something. This is good. You might like this. What are their initials, Hell's Angels?
H.A.
What does a comedian do? He gets...
Ha-ha.
Yeah, so H.A., Hell's Angels, H.A., John DiResta, H.A., ha. Red and white, that's your background colors. You could, I see where this is going. I like it. I want 1% of your special.
Whoa.
Ha, ha.
Ha-ha Cafe.
Yeah, yeah. That'd be funny. You just go around to different biker groups like, okay, this didn't work out. Let me go to the...
No, listen, because there's a friend of mine that's the guy that sent the video. He's friends with them, and he's a quasi-comedian, Big Schwag. Do you know Big Schwag? He said, let's think about, imagine there's a tour where you actually make money, and you're one night in and one night out.
Yeah.
You're not in Red Roof Inn Wednesday through Sunday beating your meat to crab fishing shows.
There's a comedian that was on... not Sons of Anarchy. Isn't there like another one? It's like, I think it's a Latino biker thing.
The Mayans.
Yes, the Mayans. There's a guy named Momo Rodriguez that's on there, or was on there, or is on there. I don't know. And he said that a lot of those guys, the actors and the real bikers, they support him and they go out to Bray and he sells
good,
out.
okay.
And he's also in with George Lopez, so he's got that going on. So
Good for him.
there's definitely a scene. You know what I mean?
Yep.
There's a lot of bike enthusiasts.
Yeah, dude. One of the times I was at the Ha-Ha, there was a whole bunch of guys with their bikes lined up in front, and I was being yelled at for running the light. Meanwhile, the guy flashing me with the phone had no light on the phone. So little do I know, he's waving a phone that's black for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And certain people at the Ha-Ha thought that they were standing behind it, so they thought the phone was on. Why else would anybody wave it back and forth if the light wasn't on?
Right.
So literally the sequence of where people were standing versus me not getting the light, me even saying in my mind, I'm up here too long and no one's giving me the light. Maybe someone didn't show up. And then till somebody had to run up to the stage and basically yell at me to get off and pointed and said, you're getting the light. And from the stage, I said, the light is not on. The flashlight of the phone is not on.
And the bikers were there that night?
So that's what I'm saying. I said, thank you, good night. And as I'm walking, they're still clapping. I'm off stage 7-10 seconds. And I'm getting rebuffed for running the light at the exact time these big, badass Mexican dudes with leathers and tats were like, when is this guy coming back? He's the best, bro.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a second. But John, you did extra minutes.
Yep. That's exact, dude. It was
so weird.
It was, and again, I looked over and he's like kind of just taking the light down to the side.
Yeah.
And it's not on.
Oh God.
It's this. in a dark comedy club.
Speaking of light, I want to tell us that health tip you gave us. You were having trouble sleeping, and you said you went to a
No,
doctor.
I wasn't feeling well, and I went to the doctor, and he said something about, and I can't think of the name. He said something about getting up a little bit earlier, getting some sunlight in your eyes, because I sleep just till whenever I want to get up.
The house is dark.
Yeah, it's dark always. It's like a mausoleum. And, at 11 o'clock, it seems like it's like 7 in the morning. It's 11. Everything's all.
Yeah.
But lately I get up at 10 o'clock to watch my favorite show, The View. I watch The View. Joy Behar is an old friend of mine.
Does it get your blood pressure going? Is that what it is?
Not really. It's just, it's a weird, I watch.
Whoopi's gained some weight, huh?
Oh, girl.
Let
Hold
me
on.
ask you, yeah.
No, I watch Bill Maher every Friday for my update on news.
Yeah.
And if I catch The View 2 or 3 times during the week, the top stories right in the beginning, I feel like I'm updated on what I need to know from different areas.
Yeah. If you're on a teeter-totter, you're on one side, Whoopi Goldberg's on the other, what's going to happen?
Dude, I'm 195, naked. She's probably 3 1/4. Oh, wow. It's going to go down on her side.
Yeah, you're going to be stuck in the air.
Dude, I weigh 195.
That's good.
When I was in the police academy 35 years ago,
yeah,
I was in the fat squad, and they weigh you in your underwears in front of everyone, and I was 205.
Oh.
So I'm 10 pounds less than 35 years ago.
That's
However,
good.
I was fat, and I saw a wood customer the other day, and she's now married. So she goes, John, I said, you were one of my first customers in 2002. She goes, I know. I said, yeah, I used to be a fatso. She goes, oh, without a doubt. You were like at least 300.
Dang.
That's the first person that's ever said that to me in my life.
Wow.
I said, no, I was about 255, 260 in How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days is the fattest I've ever been.
Wow.
And it's on camera. So when your face is a close-up, it's 35 feet tall.
Yeah.
Each chin is 3 feet tall.
Yeah. Because like the camera adds.
Well, the camera adds 3 chins.
3 chins. Yeah.
Dude, How to Lose a Chin in 10 months.
It's hard, man. You know what it is? We have to really put our mind to lose weight, to keep it off. I've been eating good lately, and my shirts are getting tighter and not in the good area. You know what I mean?
Shit.
I'm doing my push-ups and sit-ups.
How much do you weigh?
I honestly probably weighed like 200,
Okay. How tall are you? 5'1"?
Yeah, 5'11", kind of, sort of. I always thought I was 5'10 and a half, but we measured, over COVID, and I was 5'11", maybe because I stretched out every vertebrae and I stood up straight. But if I stand up straight, I'm 5'11", but I'm probably 5'10 and a half. But then again, I have shoes on, so I'm probably 5'11".
We all lean forward as the time goes by.
Yeah.
We shrimp up. It's called shrimping up.
Shrimping up. Yeah. But I do my daily push-ups and sit-ups, man. I do 50. I just do it. Sometimes I throw in more, but I'm like...
I do neck ups.
What are neck ups? You just stick your neck up like...
Yeah.
Like it's a curious turtle.
Trying to kill my 6 chin.
But I like what you said, though. The doctor told you to get outside as early as you can or whatever. Like, get some direct sunlight in your eyes.
There's a name of it, like carotene lighting.
Yeah, you want to get the vitamin D.
From what I gather, the biggest... they say the biggest...
Black coffee.
The biggest sale ever
Serotonin?
on Shark Tank was an Asian woman who said she used to get up in her home country every day at 7 a.m. Here she gets up and goes to a cubicle. Mm-hmm. And her body was used to getting sun, so she invented a light that you put on your face in your cubicle to make like it's sun up. And from what I heard, that was the biggest seller ever on Shark Tank.
Wow. Is it serotonin?
No, something like that.
That sounds like a girl's name. Hi, my name is Sarah Tonin. Hey-oh. That joke would not do well at the Hells Angels Clubhouse. Is serotonin in here? Or should I put that joke to sleep?
Yeah. No, dude, I built up to, and again, this is about keeping it greasy. I did a couple of real hardcore zingers on the size of my manhood. And one was boom, boom, boom. Because now you don't have to do the setup. Everyone knows what you're talking about.
Yeah.
A la Phyllis Diller.
Yeah.
She brings up a topic and then just keeps topping it.
Yeah. You
don't have to bring up the subject again. So for me, it was, I'm going to keep it clean. But it was, fun size, this, doot. And then I said, I got it like, a little 1 or 2 inch in the front. And my scrot is, 8 or 10 inches long now. I have a genital mullet. But again, here it sounds like ha-ha.
Yeah.
there, it was
because they're like bam.
It was
bam,
lights out.
Bam,
The timing
bam,
of it,
yeah.
it was lights out.
I want to ask you about Makers Camp. What's that about? Did you flew back to upstate New York?
I flew to. I've been.
Tell us all about, for the people. Hello, everyone that saw John out there, but people that are unfamiliar with it. What is it, and how did you guys get into it? And tell us all about it.
It's almost like a retreat for people from all around the world that make stuff for a living. Welders, woodworkers, leather. It's like a trade show almost with about 200 booths set up, and most of the booths are doing demonstrations. So if you weld, use our flux. If you do woodworking, look how good our saw works versus. And it just so happens that this one in East Durham, New York, the Irish Alps, is 4 miles from my brother's home. And my brother is the godfather of that whole lifestyle. So it's his quinceañera, his prom night, his senior vacation, his wedding.
So people are going to go anyways, and then they
get to meet Jimmy DiResta.
A lot of them are familiar with his YouTube channel, what he's been doing over the years. So
right.
It's kind of like meeting, going to Graceland. You're already there. You might as well. We're already in Memphis. Let's go to Graceland.
Right. Well, no, not everyone goes to his house. He comes to the event. And he's just like the king of the hop.
Does he do other? Do they have those trade show that thing in other places?
Yes,
around
they
the
do.
country?
Oh, yeah, they do. He did one in England. He signed autographs for 8 hours Saturday and 8 hours Sunday.
Wow.
So he's well known around the world.
Yeah.
So watch this. I just asked him when's the next, and I had such a good time. And your name came up. I'll give you credit in a second.
Thank you.
There's
I'm
a
start
few
doing your act.
There's a few around the country, and I asked Jimmy today. I said, "Hey, when is the next one, and can I come? Just to bum around. I don't do any demonstration. I'm just Jimmy's brother. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he hasn't answered yet, and I'm wondering if because my stories are, because I told a lot of funny stories. We were around a fire, around a flea market spot, and all I did was sit down, and there was one guy named Dom. Dom, if you heard this, call me. Or text me or get in touch with me. I want to thank you for that whole weekend. Dom lives in New Jersey.
Shout out to Dom.
And on Friday morning, we shook hands, and he said, instead of saying hello, he said, Papa San no come home. Chop suey. And I said, that's an old story from the transit police. I said, how do you know that? He goes, dude, I met you 2 or 3 times. He goes, I listened to all your podcasts with Darren Carter. So the whole 3 days, every time I got into a rhythm of telling stories with people around me, he sat right to my left, and he would go, tell him about Robert De Niro, how he didn't care.
That's so cool.
Dude.
Dom, thank you.
Dom, tell him about your wife looks like Twisted Sister. Your wife looks like Twisted Sister. Tell him Papa San no come home, chop suey. But when you told that joke to the TV executives, nobody laughed. They were grossed out. Tell him that part. And it was fun. Oh, but this time my 2 daughters went.
Shout out to Yellow Mug Inc.
Yellow Mug Inc. was there. There was 2 of them. One kept saying they were the real Yellow Mug Inc. You don't know that?
No, really?
And then there's some other inside joke between my brother, and he has a girl that makes all his denim clothing and designs it. And they have some kind of inside joke, possibly from this podcast, that you were saying, say hello to Yellow Mug Inc. And I was going, hello, Yellow Monkey.
Yeah.
And you or my brother were going, it's Yellow Monk Inc. And I said, I'm saying it, Yellow Monkey. I'm saying hello to Yellow Monkey. And they kept saying it's Yellow Mug Inc. And it was a legit, I thought we were talking the same language.
Yeah.
I met him, but my 2 daughters went, my mom went, my dad, my sister, my other brother. So it was a family reunion.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
Well, so you asked him, hey, I'd love to do it again, but you haven't heard back, and you're wondering.
Oh, yeah. Because there was 1 or 2 stories where I got a little, because it was late at night. I might have had a beer or 2, a couple shots of Jack Daniels. I might have banged out a joint. So the stories got a little bit more
less PG rated.
and an 80s flair, things that used to go in comedy that don't go now.
Yeah.
Accents, etc.
Yeah.
Terminology.
Yeah.
That we're not allowed to do anymore.
Little Archie Bunker-ish.
Archie Bunker-ish, but I had them. I knew I can get away with it. But the next day, someone would pull my brother aside and go, hey, your brother's really funny, but I just want to let you know, he was doing imitation of a certain ethnic background that, today sounds like it doesn't sound right.
It sounds, yeah.
And they reported back to Jimmy like as if I'm like, and guess what Jimmy said? That stuff's not good for business because my name is the same as your name.
Oh, yeah.
So anyway,
Because I remember we talked about that when he did the podcast a couple of years ago. Remember he was saying something like, if you start a YouTube channel or a podcast, you can do it, but you're going to be on a certain cul-de-sac. Like it's like it kind of stays in that area as opposed to like, I'm for all ages.
yeah.
Check out my Gorilla Glue and all these major sponsors and stuff.
Right. You could be, and I have that problem. I'm from Long Island, and it's bred into your genes that you like to mock, you like to push the envelope. That's the juice. Did you ever see the movie Heat?
I did, and I'm going to show you something. But yeah, tell me the story.
When they're going to do one more score, and De Niro asks everybody, "Do you want to do one more score?" This is the last one. It's the biggest one. Guess what Tom Sizemore says?
What do you say?
You know me. For me, the action is the juice.
Oh.
In other words, robbing the bank is the juice, not the money. So when you're a wisecrack and a sarcastic a-hole and a flid, you know what a flid is?
Long Island douche.
An effing Long Island douchebag. Oh. Going that extra, pushing the envelope, knowing you're going to get a deeper laugh, that's the gray area. Were you going to show me pictures of your penis?
No, this is on my phone. So no, just go ahead and tell people what this says. The reason my generation doesn't get offended. And there's Fred Sanford. No, what was his name? Sanford and Son. Yeah, Sanford and Son. You big dummy.
Yeah, a great show. Archie Bunker, great show. Not sure what. Oh, Jeffersons, great show. What You Talking About, Willis?
Different Strokes.
I can get in trouble for just saying that. And what was that, Monty Python?
Barney Miller.
Oh, Barney Miller was great. Guess who auditioned on my sitcom to be the sergeant?
No, the main
Wojciech Howitz.
Whoa, Wojciech Howitz.
Yeah, someone's
Wow.
moccasins don't touch the ground in real life.
Wow, Wojciech Howitz don't? I'm going to go tell your brother you said that. Hey, I did a joke about that when I was in the Bay Area. I forget how it came out. Oh, yeah, that's what it was. There was a guy in the audience, and I was doing a riff. Hey, whatever. I forget how it came out. I'm usually very positive with my comedy. I go, you look like you get a lot of good-looking girls. Look how, you're a very handsome young man or something. And he goes, actually, and then he did like the old school,
Yeah.
like you look like you just dunked a basketball.
Yeah,
like the thing with the hand.
Right.
And I go, and obviously that's what his gesture was about himself, And I go, man, that's such an, I never see that anymore. That or the expression, I go, what is it, light in the loafers?
Yeah.
I go, maybe people don't wear loafers anymore.
Yeah.
That's not really a thing. And I did some riffing about light in the loafers and, that kind of thing. But it is kind of funny, right? Like you don't really, and now, oh man, I was just doing some research today. So do you know about the Superman, like the big news that came out last week? Superman and
I'm done with him.
Yeah, what was this? Do you know what he has?
He's bisexual, and it no longer is his crusade to save America or something.
Oh, really?
They took the slogan out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, there's something about blah 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 America.
Oh, wow.
They took it out.
Dang, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and they say that he has a different sexual
I think his son is bi or something.
Desire.
Wow. And then there's the different characters this has happened. So I'm writing jokes for Fraser, Fraser Smith.
Right.
KLOS FM, Fraser Smith. I love doing that radio voice. Here we go. Lock it in and rip the knob off.
Metallica.
Yeah. Anyway, so I told him, I go, you should. I told Fraser you should do a joke about it and call it the Social Justice League.
Yeah.
And then we were talking about, remember the Incredible Hulk, or now they call it just the Hulk. And I go, you could talk about talk about transitioning, And so I looked up, do you know this about the Incredible Hulk? Do you know what his real name is when he's not the Hulk?
No.
Bruce Banner.
Okay.
In the comic book, apparently it was Bruce Banner, but on television, his name is David Banner.
Why?
From what I looked up, it said that Bruce was a very common name in the 70s for people that would be the punchline for people that were, quote, light in the loafers.
Right.
Yeah. My name is Bruce, that whole thing. So they changed it for television, which is now it's a 180 the other way. Now they would say
The 6th precinct is in the West Village of New York City. That's the heart of a homosexual neighborhood. Guess what the name of the 6th precinct is?
I don't know.
Fort Bruce.
Fort Bruce. See, that's like an old school term.
Yeah, it's an old
Fort
school
Bruce.
term.
Yeah.
Only a New York City cop would know that. It's hysterical.
Fort Bruce.
Yeah.
There were some old school terms you and I were talking about once about the these are un-PC. This wouldn't fly now. I don't think they even. You were telling me some of the old ones you used to hear the older guys say about the nightstick. You know do you remember like the
You give them an oak shower,
the oak shower,
or you part their hair with a nightstick.
Was there like a party hat or something like that?
Bronx party hat, or you send them home in a turban.
Oh gosh, because they get the bandage wrapped.
Yeah,
up.
you send them home in a turban.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's an attitude adjustment.
Oh yeah. By the way, that was a song. Do you ever hear that one by Hank Williams Jr.? Attitude adjustment. That's another song that wouldn't fly nowadays.
No, I like Hank Williams Jr.
Me too.
And I like Hank Williams Sr.
You know how like people? I was backstage at the Comedy Store. It was really cool, and shout out to the Comedy Store. And it was a main room spot. It was recent. I was with right before me. I was talking to. Oh gosh, is it Jessica Kirsten? Is that her name?
Yeah, that's her name.
I'm going blank. But anyways, we were talking about comedy, and she started, I think, in 1999, and she was like, I don't even know how people start now. Like what? She goes, you'd be so afraid to talk about all these different things, and isn't that the truth? Like if you started now as a stand-up, because part of what we make funny is, like you said, we become those characters and do these voices. And
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't even thought of that. I did work on Saturday night. I worked with a comedian. Maybe you know him. He's from Africa, and he moved here to make it. And he's young, and he's African American, and he's got the accent from he's from some hardcore Congo.
It's cool. I wish I knew who it was.
And I found him very funny. And in a very strange, and again, this is a new comedian, which is very hard to buy, and you can't buy it, and you can't create it. I found myself and the audience rooting for him, even though we knew him only 10 minutes. We were rooting for him and his success. Right now, while he was on stage, we wanted him to be funny, and at the very end, we left with saying, "Wow, I hope this guy makes it." And I called him. He doesn't know me at all, and I got in touch with him today. And I said, hey, dude, I just want to let you know, he has a couple of funny things you could do in your act. And that's something you should know, that we're rooting for you, and it can't be bought. So he's on the right track. And here's a joke I gave him. He goes, I know you're wondering how I learned to speak English and American. I learned from all YouTube and TV of American comedian. I learned. And then he changes the subject. And I said to him, dude, I went out of my way to call him today. I said, dude, when you say, I learned how to speak from American comedian, you got to go right into a Dice Clay imitation, a Rodney Dangerfield, a Seinfeld. Yeah. I said, if the imitation is exact, it's funny. If it's the worst ever, it's funny. The setup is...
Who are these people?
Yeah, exactly.
I'll tell you, I got no respect, okay?
And I said that to him. I said, who's your favorite comedian? And he's a young guy from Africa that probably ate zebra meat and drank hot human piss and lived in a hut. And he goes, favorite of all time is Rodney Dangerfield.
Oh, that's cool.
So I said, imagine if you just said, I can't get no respect, and you tugged on your tie. And he busted out laughing. He goes, I get it, man. I get it.
Wow.
I am taking notes right now, Mr. DiResta.
Hey, by the way, speaking of Africa, I was watching YouTube today, and the video said something like, it was for, I think, National Geographic, and this video was from 10 years ago. At least that's when it was uploaded to YouTube. I don't know when it was filmed. And the man interviewed a tribe in Africa that were cannibals. And he was eating some sort of meat with them, like a wild boar. And then they showed him, he's like, okay, because at first it was like a really good part of the meat that you and I would, like most people who've eaten pig would be like, okay, cool. And then they had him try it eyeball. And he's like, I feel it squirting and the juice is going around. Okay. And then at the end of the video, he goes, so has anybody here, and it was some of the older guys, the older people, said they tried it once and it was when they were little kids, and he asked them what it was like, and they said it tasted kind of like a hog, and they said they had the meat of one man and one woman, and he said, did it taste different? And they said it tasted the same. And then the very last question, I'm glad he asked it. He goes, "Did you ever eat a white person?" And the guy goes, he smiled and he goes, "No, because we never saw a white person to eat, So it wasn't." And
Now watch this.
And the video just ended right there.
Did any of them bring up the insult Santa? That's where I thought you were leading.
They would love to eat the insult Santa. No,
or at least they had heard about it on African Safari.
No, they wanted to eat Vince Neil's ribs, but he cracked them. And I'm just kidding.
Dude, the other people that had to eat human meat was the plane that crashed.
Oh yeah, Donner. No, not the Donner Party. Was it the Donner Party?
It was a soccer team.
Oh yeah, that soccer team. Yeah,
that was a rough one.
I'm not into finger food.
Whoa, shoinks. I do know. Watch this. I might be as close as any human being. I was completely addicted to biting my fingernails for years, till I had to go in a hospital, and it was about a $50,000 bill to clear up an infection from biting my fingernails.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, it's called onchophagia, and it's a mental illness.
Wow.
I had it.
Hey, we were watching baseball tonight, and you see onchophagia. How did you kick it?
I just had to. I went to a hospital, and I'll tell you how I kicked it. If there's any nail biters, the number one thing is to always have a emery board around. So when you get that one thing that is sticking out, you just got to sand it down. I had to do it the other day.
Yeah,
I was out of the house at a 7-Eleven, and I felt something sticking up. And I wanted to bite it, and I wanted to yank it, and I wanted to pull it.
Don't do it. Yep.
And I asked at 7-Eleven, I said, "Do you have an emery board?" "We don't have an emery board. We don't know what you're talking about. Would you like a donut?" And I had to get home and get to an emery board. I'm like a sick addict.
It's funny because I was watching baseball tonight, and some of those baseball players, they got their little souvenirs and superstitions. Like some of them are wearing necklaces, like Lucky Charms, and I'm like, how do you how do you run with the necklace? It seems like it'd be bouncing in your face, but I think they just go for it, right? They have these nuances.
What I'm curious is, what are they all chewing and spitting out since they made tobacco illegal? Yeah. They're all like, is it sunflower seeds? Is it gum?
Yeah. When we close, let me ask you this. Do you have any rituals that you do before you go out on stage or before you get ready for the gig? Because definitely, I'm going to tell you this. I went to a Thanksgiving celebration one year, and there was a gentleman that's in our family, extended family. He's a construction worker, and he said something interesting to me. He goes, now I'm just Dave. He goes, but when I go to work, he goes, I feel like a superhero. He goes, as soon as I put that belt on, and he wears his work boots, he has a certain outfit that he wears. He goes, I feel like, all right, this is what I wear when I do and I thought about that with stand-up. Like there's certain clothes that I wear,
there's certain clothes I wear. I put on my rings, which I don't normally wear. I brush my hair. I empty my my urine bag. Not that it's outside of my body. It's an old expression.
Yeah.
I make sure I go to the bathroom. I make sure I put some water on my face. I get a coffee. I get a water. I don't eat. And I try and, 5-7 minutes before I start to rotate in my mind that, all right, I'm here to have as much fun as possible. I'm here to be funny. And I find, again, this friend of mine that has living room balls, funny in the living room, a.k.a. cul-de-sac balls, he thinks you just get up and talk. Like that's what he calls it. He's like, one day I'm going to get up and talk. And I go, you're not getting up to talk. You're getting up to be as funny as humanly possible, to get the biggest laughs. At least that's the way I think.
Yeah.
I don't know where I was leading with it, but
you have to get.
I put that in my mind that I'm not here just to hang out.
Right.
I may make it look like a hangout. You know what I mean? I'm
perform.
But there's a performance to it, and I don't know if you ever heard of this actor, Robert De Niro.
Yeah, my friend John DiResta did a couple movies with him.
I worked with him twice. Once on a movie for 6 months, and once I did a table read for Analyze That, the second one with him. And he said, when you're doing a scene in a movie, You have to turn it on. You have to turn it up. And then you turn it off. Whether that's 1 minute, 5 minutes, 7 minutes, or as a stand-up. You turn it on, you turn it up, you turn it off. In other words, it's a very segmented amount of time for you to build, dismount. I always practice a dismount, even if it's the smallest set on earth. That's from one of my comedy coaches 20 years ago. He said, dude, you don't just mumble, that's my time, and walk off.
No.
You dismount.
How do you dismount? Let's say
you find a callback, or if you find an in joke, a now joke that was so good, you got to go.
Let's say you dismount right now. Let's see how you would do it.
Well, it depends on what show. You know, it's...
I always say my name. Always.
Oh, no. Yeah. Mine is more material. Mine is the big callback, that... I set up the phrase in my balls, and then I said my son tried to make fun of me, and we go back and forth, and then he makes fun of my hairline, my man tits, my double chin, and my fupa. And I say, bro, you better... if you're going to rank each other, right, you're going to take... crack on each other? If you're going to do that with me, you're going to lose. Oh, yeah, how am I going to lose? I said I was a New York City cop for 12 years. I was raised in Long Island. I'm a comedian. I'm an actor. You're going to lose. Oh, yeah, how am I going to lose? I said, how are you going to lose? About 31 years ago, you know where you lived? In my balls. And it's a funny callback, and the audience puts it together. Or if it's a bad gig, I mention it's a bad gig, then I bring up the thing about one more time eating a pot cookie, even though you know you're going to have a bad trip. And the reason I did it was because why? I have a bad trip, and I said, God, if you give me my brain back, because I don't know if you've ever experienced it, your brain goes for 10 hours. So I say, please, God, if you give me my brain back, I'll do a set at wherever I am then.
I'll do a set at the Hells Angels Clubhouse.
Right. I tried it. You know what I did? I tried it there.
Uh-oh.
And no, I didn't want to say that the Hells Angels was
it's a hell gig. It's
guess
a
what I
bad
did?
Uh-oh.
And it didn't work.
The town.
Gardenia.
You made fun of the town.
I made fun of the town, and then even that, they were like, hey, this is our town.
Yeah.
They didn't take it like it wasn't a little cheesy gig in Valencia.
This is like
there's a
big
pride
night.
in their town.
Yeah.
And I felt it when I said it.
Wow.
So, I saw John Mulrooney once.
Okay, and then I'm going to tell you a story. Go ahead.
Real quick, John Mulrooney was at Caroline's, and these two girls were just back and forth trying to outsmart him the whole set. They even went to kick them out, and he said, no, you leave them here, because he knew he was getting them. He sucked them in 100%. Everything you could say anti-woman, and they took the bait, and then he had and the show was almost over, and he looked at one guy who was very nice the whole show, polite, and he just said, what do you do for a living? And the guy said, I'm a garbage man. And without missing a beat, Mulrooney pointed to the two girls and said, can you take those two out?
Yeah.
And he got a huge laugh, and he didn't close on that. Afterwards, he said to me, I don't know what I was thinking.
Yeah.
He said I should have dropped the mic. I would have got a standing ovation. So I've always thought of that you're always looking for that moment.
Yeah.
If that comes up 2 minutes before your time's up, that's it. You jump.
Yep. Yeah. I heard there's a country singer I really like, an old school country singer. He's known as a storyteller. His name is Tom T. Hall. One of his big hits in the 70s was called I Love Little Baby Ducks. That kind of things. Winners when they try. No, losers when they try. Winners when they cry. And I love you. Do you know that song?
Sounds familiar, but you're not doing it justice.
I'm not doing it. And I love... Whatever. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
So I saw him in concert on YouTube, and it was a special, and it was amazing. The crowd loved him. He's telling stories. He's doing his songs. He was... it might have been at the Ryman Auditorium in Nashville. He says, good night. Everyone applauds. The guy goes to, one more time for Tom, and he goes, I just want to say one more thing. The crowd gets quiet, and he says something like, I don't know if it's possible, but I don't know if there's any way that you could have had a better time than I did this evening. I'll always remember this for the rest of my life. Good night. Something like that.
Wow.
Like, yeah,
giving them a compliment.
Yeah, the way he did it was like goosebumps, man. He was
Wow.
like, I don't know if it's possible. And then, plus it really was special because this guy was probably 80 years old.
Whoa.
And it was just like, wow,
Well, lately, I'm 57 years old. Any show that I do could be my last show. So I literally bring that on stage. There's going to be one that's the last one.
Especially after COVID, you start thinking about things like that, huh? You know what? During COVID, like when there's a lockdown, and you know me, I'm trying to upload stuff and work on stuff, and you know that the power of is in our pockets now, like pocket party. But with I remember doing comedy in the '90s, and you just had to wait till the show at 8 p.m. that night to get yourself out there, and now we can like what you have. You got the we got the podcast. I got the YouTube channel. I'm looking around. You got this ring light, this microphone. You've got a back. I mean, we can do it. And I looked at some of my footage, and I'm like, man, thank God I have footage that I can clip and put it out there and get it out there. So, they say stage time is very valuable. I really do feel like it is valuable.
Yeah.
Before I'd kind of take it, I knew it was valuable, but I'd take it for granted. I'd be like, that's what we do. But you don't know when they're going to shut it down to flatten the curve, and then you're like,
yeah, no. I'm every show I do, I'm having a lot of fun. I have a new and watch this. You don't know this, and now your 16 listeners will know it. See that?
Shout out to Dom. Shout out to Yellow Mug Inc.
That was a zing.
I know. No, I got I'm hoping to get 16.
That what was I going to say? Oh, I in this past June, I got to look up my notebooks. I kind of made a decision. Do I continue doing this, or do I just pack it in 100% and never do it again? And I made this is stand-up.
How could anyone do that? Okay, I'm sorry to interrupt, but...
Well, anyway, yeah. I mean, there's not quality shows. I make money other ways. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't mean to diss other comedians, but when you go to a comedy club, you have to spend a lot of time with people you don't necessarily want to spend time with. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, when you're really successful, guys that are listening, women that are listening, you're on tour, and it makes it great when you can bring your friends. Like when I listen to Joe Rogan, it's awesome because he's like, yeah, we flew into, I don't know, like Boca Raton, and I brought his two buddies, and then from there...
and on every show they're making is $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000.
Oh yeah.
When you're making $20, it's easy to. I think it's easy to quit. I unfortunately, I mean, I want to say it's in my blood, but things change. You know what I mean?
Oh, you mean not quitting's not in your blood, but stand-up is in your blood.
Just like I would automatically think I would do it till the day I die, but it's come the COVID and come June and come my sickness. I got the diabetes, and I'm making a steady income with other things. Like, it's easy to not do it, but I made the decision.
Yeah, that's good that you still do it.
I made the decision to do it and not chase it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean by not chase it? Like, I just want to find my voice ever more in these second-rate rooms instead of going over to Sunset and being told, you can't do this, you can't do that, or, you're videotaped and canceled.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. That's a very real, conversation that people have in their mind. Like, I remember driving home from one of the A clubs. And granted, it was, 3 months ago, so things weren't 100% normal. They still aren't, but they were really not normal back then. And I remember asking myself, because I asked myself a lot of questions. Like, I remember when I left the set of Be Cool, and I thought, that was cool. I was in a movie with John Travolta. I got to act with them, and I thought, what's more fun, that or stand-up? And I said stand-up is. But I know the movie has more like, ooh, like you do radio, and the DJs are like, so you were in a movie called, so we know that has more like cachet, but it's not.
Right.
At least doing a scene for a day isn't that. Stand-up is way better, but probably different if you're the lead actor. But I remember asking myself when I was leaving this A room, I thought, is doing that? I thought, you know what? It doesn't really matter if you're in an A room or B room or a C room, as long as you can get on a stage, have a good sound system, and have an audience. You're gonna do what you do. You're going to perform. It doesn't really matter. The only thing is sometimes there are opportunities that can come up from an A room.
Oh, without a doubt.
That's the only thing.
You do make money and people see you. Oh, I believe
And you are working with comedians. Iron sharpens iron. So, rather than, you constantly being the best comedian in the C rooms or the B rooms.
That's a good point.
The A room, sometimes there's other people that just are better than you, like sometimes they're more famous than you. I don't consider that better. And then sometimes they are better. And sometimes they are more famous. Like when I saw Tim Dillon, I'm like, this guy's more famous, he's more rich, and he's funnier. Because he's really in touch with what's happening now. Do you know who that is?
Yeah. He's from Long Island.
Oh, he is?
Of course.
He was just like, dude,
he's
everything
from Island
was like,
Park.
Yeah, he was just going for it with current events and this and that, and just like, wow. But
Well, can I tell you one quick thing?
Please do.
Everybody was impressed back in New York. I got my wings.
Yeah. What's that mean?
The sides of my hair have gone white.
Oh, yeah. Like on The Sopranos, Paulie Walnuts.
Well,
right?
Christopher, when Christopher got made, he went and dyed his hair gray because he hadn't got his wings yet, and they made fun of him. You have to get them naturally, so I got my wings. But in a strange set of circumstances, I got my wings downstairs too. I'm going to keep it clean, but you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
I got my wings downstairs on the right and left, gray. And I looked in the mirror yesterday naked.
Yeah.
And my gonads look like Grandpa Munster.
Lulu.
Yeah. Or
Hyman.
when I looked at myself naked,
Yeah.
it brought a whole new meaning to the name Paulie Walnuts.
Yeah.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you. In my gray balls.
Yeah, there you go.
That's good. John, it was great having you
Yeah,
on. Thanks for
anytime,
having me.
dude.
And,
a lot of fun.
We got to do this again. And, hopefully you'll keep this table here in your podcast setup because I want to, and I want you to start your own podcast.
I'm going to.
You know?
Just a matter of time.
And until then, please be a regular on mine. I love it.
No problem.
I like Zoom, but this is great, dude. I love this.
Yeah.
In closing, do you have any words of wisdom?
Let me think.
Or if not, we could also do the you said that a guy was whispering in your ear the chop suey story or whatever it was. the Papa San. Would that be good to end on? The Papa San?
Yeah, sure. It's a nice story.
Yeah.
There's an old-time New York City transit cop named Jerry Jenkins, and I got to Coney Island in 1986, and he had been there for years. And there was a story that on Christmas Day, like in 82, on Christmas Day, he had to work in the police car, not standing in the subway. He was in a police car. He was transit. And all the sergeants and detectives and lieutenants that normally do a death notification are all off because it's Christmas Day. And if they did go on duty at 7 o'clock, guess what they did? They went home for the day, and they're going to sign out at 4. They're home with their pajamas on. So unfortunately, an Asian gentleman commits suicide that day, Christmas Day. And it's a nasty scene when someone gets run over by a train. There's pieces everywhere. And who gets the death notification? The overweight New York City cop that's not trained, that doesn't have the couth and the empathy that you might have. So he gets the address and he knocks on the door. And he says, are you Mrs. Ebong Cho? Your husband has died. No, he get the milk. He get the milk and the lunch. He be home for lunch at Christmas. We do the presents. No, your husband's not coming home. He died. No, you you get the lunch. Ruckery, he come home with turkey sandwich. Look, your husband he's no longer with. No, he come home with the milk and the lunch. And finally, Jerry Jenkins yells, look, Papa San no come home. Chop suey.
Wow. That's a real story.
That's a real story. So, then the guy Don would go in my ear, tell him about the TV execs with Papa San no come home, chop suey.
Yeah.
So when you have your own sitcom on a network, you have to do a thing for the reporters. TCA it's called, something Critics Association. So 200 or 300 reporters from all across America, Cleveland, New Jersey, Miami, they all fly to Pasadena, and they sit with Kevin James for an hour. And they get to know him, and they write what a great show he has. And then they sit with Ray Romano for an hour, and they write, and they get free stuff and leather jackets that say, everyone loves Raymond. So you bribe them into a nice review. So now when you have a new show called DiResta on the UPN, you have 200 or 300 reporters that are like, were you really a cop 2 weeks ago? Were you really? How long have you been in a stand-up? And, I'm fielding the questions. It's me, my TV wife, and the head writer. It's a big formal thing. And we're on stage. Finally, someone says, can you tell a funny story from the transit police? So I break out Papa San no come home, chop suey. Dead silence from 300 people. And one person goes, oh, my God, that's disgusting. And that was my intro to the critics. The story went completely south.
Was that in the West Coast?
That was in Pasadena.
Wow.
Not only did it go south, like I said, it's really funny that every time I was with a group of people, this guy Dom would go, Papa San, no come home, chop suey.
Damn.
And then when I got to laugh, he'd go, now tell him about the TV executives, how it didn't go well.
Dude, that's hilarious.
But watch this, that same day that I did that story, I got a photo taken me, and I was in the National Enquirer. Chubby-faced comedian Jimmy DiResta leaves the TCA. And it's a picture of me. I got big, rounded cheeks and 2 or 3 chins. So, because someone asked me over this past weekend, how do you know when you're famous? And someone else yelled, he was in the National Enquirer. I guess it would be like being on TMZ now.
Dude, I got a good question for you. I got 2 good questions, and we'll go.
Go ahead. I'm not gay.
How do you... Okay, good. Or you could be. If you get back on TV.
Okay.
Get back on TV. Just do it. Just say you are. You have to prove it. All right. How do you know you're famous? How did you first know you were famous?
There's a couple of... I mean, the first time I ever got noticed was at a garage sale. Someone said, hey, you a comedian? You did our show last night. And the pay was all the food you can eat. And it was me and another cop, Joe Badalamenti. And a guy said, are you a comedian? I said, yeah. He goes, you did your show last night. And you were really funny. I said, thanks, dude. First time ever. He goes, tell your friend we want our food back. Only a New York City cop could think that's how unfunny this guy was. We want our food back.
Oh, man.
That's the first time I ever got recognized. There's a couple of ways. I'm not sure if you're asking me about the time the steam was coming out of my pool. I don't know if you know that one.
Oh, that's a good one. Tell us that.
Well, I had a friend come from New York, and I'm renting a house in the Hollywood Hills, but on the Studio City side, built-in pool, and it was a cold October night, and the steam was coming out of my pool because the heater was on. And this friend from Long Island goes, what's that steam coming out of your pool? And I laughed and said, that's my bank account going up in steam.
Oh, gosh.
And he goes, well, why don't you flick it off? It's so expensive. I go, it's like 30 feet away. And one day, 6 months from now, I might want to swim in a warm pool. Right. It's probably $2,000 a month.
Yeah.
That was one. Another time, this is not no, I'm famous. This is I know when I jumped the shark and I stopped.
Because I got a 2-parter. I got a second question, follow up.
Another time, I went to the ATM on Melrose, $200, and it did everything except kick the money out. And instead of taking the number or speaking to Haji that I lost $200, I said, who cares? It's only $200. I went to the next ATM.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is a tough one. I can edit it out. How did you know when you stopped being famous?
Probably when I went broke. When I went, and this was only right after the movies and the sitcom, and when I had nothing in the bank and wasn't wise with the money and spent it all, I felt like everything had crashed down. Even though the public and the people in show business didn't know I was broke, I felt like everybody knew I was broke, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
When you have to consider only being in Hollywood 2.5, 3, maybe 4 years, living the high life, you're in these movies and everyone thinks you're rich and famous, and you go to Coke parties with Bruce Willis up on Mulholland and Arnold Schwarzenegger, that's what people think. And you're calling your mom and dad and asking them to lend you money while you live in Hollywood and you're in movies that are rolling on, repeats. That's when I thought, and watch this, I never really thought I was famous. You know what I think I was? You ever see a surfer that's going to catch the greatest wave ever? It's a 40, 50-foot wave, and they paddle and they paddle and they paddle, and they can't catch it, and they just have to slink back. That's the way I felt. I felt there was a 100-foot wave, and I paddled for 4 years, and I just slinked back. I don't think I ever fell forward.
Right.
You know what I mean? I could say it that way, but I think more I just never caught the wave. But I'm just trying to think. There was another time where and this might be the last one. I was in a limo. Someone else was paying for it. I lived in L.A. maybe a week, and I had a limo driver that was driving me from a lot of places during the day to promote the sitcom, and he never said a word. His name was Omar. He was from a different country. He never said a word for hours. Went to every studio, never said a word. I'm here with DiResta. That's it. I'm here with DiResta. And we're on Barham. It was the first time I was ever on Barham by the $10 Roses right there.
Yep.
By the 101. And there's Jay Leno. Pulls to the left of us. Jay Leno pulls to the left of us. He's in a Viper blue with a white stripe. He looks over his right shoulder. He looks me right in the eye, and he waves 2 or 3 fingers. And I go, holy shit, look at this. Look, I'm so even Jay Leno through a smoked window is waving at me.
Yeah.
And the limo driver, Omar, goes, he wants to cut in front. That was a signal to me. And that's when I knew that, oh, man, this is all playing. It played wild game, what do you call it?
Yeah.
Head games. And on top of it, while I have a sitcom on the air, I got guys calling from back east, cops. Hey, dude, I don't know what's going on out there, but your sitcom, it's worthless. It's has no redeeming value.
Wow.
It's not funny.
And when you hear that, do you want to cut them off as friends? Or
No, because I knew it wasn't funny. I was there. I was on it.
Yeah.
Like put it this way. You did a couple sets over the weekend, and there's 2 or 3 comedians that you watched.
Yeah. And
we won't mention any names, and you kind of know whether they have it or don't have it, in your opinion.
Yeah, and being in this town long enough, I realize it means zero because somebody you think doesn't have it.
Right. Understood. But you understand what I mean.
Yeah.
Your opinion is, and my opinion of my own sitcom from day one was that it wasn't funny.
Oh, yeah,
Watch this. We got the pilot. I got the copy of the pilot. I was on vacation. I was still a cop. I was in Club Med, like white trash with money. Me, my wife, and my 3 little kids went to Club Med somewhere in off Florida. I don't know, Bahamas somewhere. And I knew the pilot was being written by somebody that I met, and allegedly I approved him. I don't remember that. And the pilot gets sent via fax to Club Med, and I can't wait to read it. And the chop machine on the fax machine is broken. So I get a 27-foot long page. One page that's 27 feet long. And I read the unfunniest script I ever read in my life. And the show hadn't even been shot yet. That was the pilot episode. They had my son dressing as a cross-dresser. This is 23 years ago, and someone's trying to ram down 23 years ago that my son thinks he might be a girl. And I go, I'm reading this while I'm tan with money in the bank, and I'm like, this has nothing to do with the story. They bought a story of a transit cop that goes to garage sales.
It has the word "tran" in
that
it,
listens to heavy metal.
Yeah.
That's dad is a crazy garage sailor that's changed his life because he brings over junk every Sunday afternoon. And if you don't get excited, his feelings get hurt. Like he has the sickness so bad that he wants you to do a backflip because he bought a fire truck for your son. And watch this. If he comes the next Sunday and that fire truck's in the same spot, and he realizes it wasn't touched or played with, it's like a dog was hit by a car. That's how bad it could get. It's like someone died. Those are deep, funny, weird things that they had.
And then the Hollywood writer was just like, he's got a cross-dressing son.
He's got a cross-dressing son, and
he supports him. Or whatever.
And honey, I have to clean out the gutters. I said to them, I go, I never got on a ladder in my life. I'm scared of ladders. I don't know what that even means to clean gutters. And that's in every sitcom ever written. Honey, I'm going to clean the gutters this Saturday. I never cleaned a gutter. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And real quick, they had me in a $500 leather jacket. And I said, hey, guys, when I came up as a comedian and the story that Disney bought, I wore a jacket that cost me 50 cents at a garage sale, and I wore it for 2 years, winter and summer. I paid 50 cents for it. And you have me in this $500 leather jacket like I'm Tony Manero from Saturday Night Fever. And guess what I was told? No one's going to notice. Don't worry about it. We know what we're doing. We wrote for other shows before you came along. Do you want us to show you our Emmys?
Gotcha.
Now watch this. When I had the sitcom deal and I was still a cop, and the head writer they picked, I used to tell the cops, he wrote for Ellen. Okay? She just came out, biggest show, and he wrote for Ellen. 9 months later when my sitcom failed, I go, fucking guy wrote for Ellen. Of course it sucked.
Dang.
Dude, and watch this. You're on a runaway train that's going 150 miles an hour, and you can't slow down the theme they want. It was like Charles in Charge. It was like Joni Loves Chachi with rubber pistols. There was no like hey, I just want to quit this job and smoke pot and listen to heavy metal, which is a funnier concept.
Yeah.
Then, honey, I found a wallet at work. Should I?
I gotta clean the gutters.
Yep, I got to clean the gutters. Yeah.
John, you're the best, man.
Okay, Drew.
Let's do this again. And
In my balls.
well, that's right. And you guys, thanks for listening. Thanks for starting that party in your ear holes. Leave a comment below on YouTube. Tell your friends. Share it. Love you guys. Bye.
Thank you.